Welcome everybody to Danny Loves Movies. I am your host, Danny Till. I am here in the City Soundbite Studios. I got my man Flip over there doing his camera roll tag. How you doing over there, Flip?
Man, I'm cooling over here, bro. What's up, man? I'm here with my guy, Danny. We about to get this motherfucker rocking.
Glad to be here, brother, and I thank you that you're doing this with me.
Hell yeah.
Let's see here. Somebody thinking, Danny Till? Why is Danny Till hosting a podcast? Well, let me tell you something. I've been a comedian for almost 10 years. Suck at that. Some may go, what else do you got? Like, I probably watch more movies than anybody else that I know. I probably, if I was born maybe 5 years before, I would have had my first job working in a video store. Like, when I was a kid, like, Flip, for you, like when you were a kid, like, did you go to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video if you had a choice?
Hollywood Video. It was one closer to me, but like Hollywood Video was more because they had the games.
Yeah, and also with Hollywood Video, by the way, like for those who are old enough to remember this, Hollywood Video, you can get the new releases for 5 days, whereas Blockbuster was only 2.
Oh.
And that was the cool thing about that. And obviously, and what was that called? Game Crazy, I think that's what it was called at Hollywood Video. Game Crazy. And so, let's see here. I used to go to the video stores all the time. I would just browse the sections. I would just read the back of the covers. I wanted to know everything. It got to the point where I sucked at second grade math homework, but I knew Ferris Bueller's Day Off was released in 1986. It's 103 minutes long. And I knew all these random facts. And then my parents were like, you recognize this stuff, but you do not know your basic schoolwork. Which just shows I'm not exactly compatible to be a service to society. And I'm okay with that, because I feel like there are just certain people that just acknowledge, like, you know what? I know my limitations. Like, because, like, I'm what you would call adorably stupid. Like, for example, today I was on a dating app, and this is no joke. So I came across a girl named Crystal, but it was spelled Christal, right? I genuinely at first thought it was Tristal. And I'm not fucking kidding. And that just shows where my brain is at. If somebody go, what is this binder? This is all of my ticket stubs from the last 10 years. And I figure for this first episode, you can get a gist of me, what I like, and I'll talk about some of my favorite experiences. For those who are watching this on camera, visually, you're probably thinking, what is that shirt? And this is a Varsity Blues shirt. And people go, why do you have a shirt of Varsity Blues? And I would say it's probably because it's my favorite film of all time. And when I tell people that, they're just like, really? Out of all the things you've seen, your all-time favorite is Varsity Blues. And I just like, listen, I can't explain it. It was just certain things you see at the right time, at the right age, and they stick with you forever. I've seen that shit so many fucking times. And not gonna lie, I started watching Dawson's Creek last week. I'm already on season 3, and god damn, that shit is good. And also, I'm not gonna lie, like because James Vanderbeek, for those who don't know, who's on my shirt right now, he's battling cancer. And he started selling jerseys on his website, and I bought the first one, got it, and then he went through the second batch, and I bought the 2. I'm still waiting for that second one, and looking forward to when that comes. And some may ask, like, what made you love movies as a kid? Like, everybody has that moment where something in their brain clicks, and for me, I would say I was 5 years old. It was the VHS of the Jim Carrey Grinch. So for those who are old enough to remember what VHSs were, or as they called back in the day, Video High Resolution Systems. The opening trailer for that is the 20th anniversary release for E.T., and that's my first introduction to E.T. was that trailer on that Grinch VHS. And I got to meet Henry Thomas and Dee Wallace a couple of months ago. Actually, last month. And they signed my Blu-ray, and I was telling them, like, this is my introduction to this movie. It was this teaser, and I still remember the trailer voice where it's, he's lost, he's alone. And I was saying this to them, and they were just like, oh, you really know. And I'm like, yes, I very much so do. And they signed my Blu-ray cover. It was really cool. I would have brought it in to show it on camera, but I was just like, I'm just going to keep this at home. And for those who are wondering, I had to go home and quickly change and shower because I wanted to look somewhat okay on camera because yeah, I'm not very pleasing to the eye. People go, what do you mean, Danny? What do you mean you're not pleasing to the eye? Let's see. Flip, I don't know if you've ever been just, not even roasted, just brutally assaulted on the inside by somebody from a comment before.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so here's mine, buddy. So I was like 20 years old. It was in San Francisco. I was in the back of an Uber, and I went to go to this festival called Colossal Clusterfest, which was like Comedy Central's version of Coachella, where it was like all day, a bunch of different comics. It was super cool. And I'm in an Uber on my way back to my hotel, and again, all day I've been making conversation with the drivers, because obviously for those who live in San Francisco and take Ubers, you know that they all don't live in the city. They commute from everywhere, and I'm from San Bernardino, so I thought let's spark a nice conversation, and everybody was cool. They were like, oh yeah, I'm from, San Bernardino, I drive in from Oakland, I drive in from just all over the Bay. Not this one lady who was like in her mid-70s. I asked this question, and this is no joke. She literally said, I'm not going to answer that because you have the face, body, and just overall vibe of a serial date rapist. And keep in mind, Flip, I had not kissed a girl yet.
Oh my God.
So imagine getting told that as a fat 20-year-old. And people are like, obviously, like, what do you mean? You're still fat. I'm like, well, I was fatter. Like it was just all head over here, and it was just full of zits, and it was just a bad vibe. And it's like, I get it. I didn't have the best appearance, and that was probably a messed up conversation or question to ask somebody at 11 o'clock in San Francisco on a Saturday night. But back to like random stuff though, like when it comes to like movies and stuff, I just would watch all day long. Anybody who follows me on Letterboxd knows I am just probably like logging stuff more than the average human being. And for this first episode, before I like start having guests on, I'm gonna start having guests probably every episode after this. I think for this first episode, I'm just gonna go through this book, this binder rather, and just talk to you about some of my favorite experiences and just more memorable ones. One that I see right here is from Sunday, August 16, 2015. It was the Turner Classic Movies release of Grease the Musical. And I remember this because I went with my sister, and Grease was her favorite movie as a kid. She watched it nonstop, and I know there are people who are like, Grease doesn't hold up as well. I admit it has its flaws, and obviously there are certain things that are like, but you know what? It's Grease. It's like, it's Grease, dude.
Yeah.
And like when they had the freaking lyrics going on the screen, I was just singing and belting my little heart out, as no matter how hard I tried. And it was just a good experience. And lately, since I've been living in Sacramento, I've been going to a lot more re-releases than I have new releases. And if somebody asks why, and I would say it's just because seeing older films on the big screen is just an entirely different experience. It really is. Like, I remember, this is like pretty recently, this is like 3 months ago? Yeah, 3 months ago, I went to go see Dazed and Confused at the Tower across the street where we're taping this. And I had never seen it in a theater before, and I think it was a 4K remaster because it just looked visually a little bit more crispy, a little cleaner. And that movie just is such a vibe, and it's the one movie I think where you can, as it's winding down, as it's wrapping up, you may think to yourself, I may start this over again. Like, let's just start from the beginning, because that's just one where you can watch on a loop, because it doesn't even have a plot, it's just a vibe, you know? And another one that's in here that was a really special experience was that 8:30 showing of the first Deadpool. And obviously Ryan Reynolds is mega famous now, and again, he was really big then, but he wasn't at the level he is now. And for those who are old enough to remember what it was like to get that movie Deadpool, that first Deadpool movie made, it was a giant journey. Because he spent over a decade trying to get it done. And the studio was just like, we don't know, it doesn't work, let's try this. And they put him in X-Men Origins, and that movie just doesn't work on any level. And also it shows that they shot it during a strike because there were just certain things they just couldn't fix. And it's just, and also like, he's called them right by the mouth, and they sew his lips shut. And by the way, fun fact, the scenes where it's Deadpool's lips sewn shut, that's not Ryan Reynolds. That is a great martial arts performer named Scott Adkins who does a lot of He's really good at action, but a lot of his movies are more on the straight to DVD premium video on demand style, and I do wish that guy was a lot bigger than he is now. But you know what? When he popped up in John Wick 4, I was just like, finally this guy's getting put into this franchise. But then unfortunately, did you see John Wick 4?
Yeah.
Okay, so because do you know who Scott Adkins is? I think he lives in the UK. And he's very toned. He's got a very nice goatee, but he's the giant fat guy, and that has that fight scene like halfway through the movie, and he waited 10 years to get into this franchise, however long it had been, and he's under so much makeup that most people don't recognize him in the movie. It was just funny to be like, yes, he's finally in it, and then you just don't recognize him at all. Let's see, what are some other ones in here? I'm looking around because I'm going through this binary that's like literally 10 years worth, and one that I want to talk about a little bit is what the Thursday night showing of It. This was on September 7th, 2017. My ticket was $7.50, which, you know, for some, they're shocked that you can get a ticket for that low, because obviously going to the movies now is crazy expensive. I mean, at my theater where I go now, the average price on a weekend matinee is still $14.50 or some shit like that. And for those who don't know the backstory of this film, you had a lot of development on trying to get this made. You originally had Cary Fukunaga going to direct it. You had Will Poulter going to play Pennywise. But they just had a lot of creative differences, mainly just because Cary's vision of it was going to get an NC-17 because he wanted to discuss and tackle some of the more like messed up, darker parts of the novel. And for those who don't know, like how messed up can it be? How dark can it be? Have you read this book? Like I thought about reading it, but like it's like 1,200 pages. It's like this thick. It's a giant fucking paperweight. But I'll tell you.
No, I haven't read it. Okay, but that sounds scary as fuck. 1,200 pages.
Okay, so basically there's a scene, or it's like right after they kill the clown, and apparently they have a scene where Beverly fucks all the boys. I'm not kidding. Like I don't know how many pages it into the book. I don't want to if I were to read this novel and I know that that's starting, I want to skip past it. Because you could tell that like Stephen King was probably on a lot of cocaine when he wrote this book, because I don't know how else do you think of this, where it's like, okay, we killed this fucking clown and now now a bunch of like 11-year-olds are just gonna fuck each other, and then it's like, okay, innocence lost, and then cut to adults and now we gotta kill this guy again. Like, I don't know how the fuck you come up with this shit, but then again, like it's like you people ask like, how do people come up with this shit? I don't know. So you can ask, like, hey, Tom Green, what made you come up with the idea for Freddy Got Fingered? Like, most people are like, how the hell did you come up with that?
Yeah, bro, that's gotta be drugs. That's gotta be drugs, dude.
Oh, 1,000%. And you know what? And I will say, like, I know Freddy Got Fingered was considered to be, like, one of the worst movies ever made, but I will say, it's not that bad. I admit it's got a very fucked up sense of humor. That is 1,000% the truth. Like, I'm not going to deny it, but it's, like, one of the worst movies I've ever made. It's like, there's been so many worse movies than that. Like, for example, I'll say it. Jack and Jill is not very good. And that was the movie that caused everybody to kind of be like, Sandler, I'm finally done with you, which sucks because, like, I would say 7 months after that, we got probably, I think, his most underrated movie, and that's My Boy. Because I think to yourself, like from an analytical point of view, it's like, this movie comes out, Jack and Jill comes out, critically just gets eviscerated, doesn't make a ton of money, it clears back your budget, but then it's like you play brother and sister and just a lot of the jokes are not landing, and then you're like, where do you go from here? You go anywhere but up, and then you have a movie where a 12-year-old Adam Sandler fucks his teacher, and then his son grows up to be Andy Samberg. Like, and this was had a prime date. It was going to come out on Father's Day weekend. And I remember, like, that opened on the same weekend as Rock of Ages, which was a musical that I saw, and I was like, this one's actually, like, pretty good. But that was also the time where, if I remember correctly, the only movies that were really making money were, because The Avengers was still in theaters, that was still kicking ass. And then, let's see, Brave was in there making money, Prometheus was still making money. And that was just this weird time, because for those who don't know, like, when you're looking at the box office, there was at least, like, three that are usually making money in the summer, and then you have a couple of releases that come along, and those ones just don't find their footing, and then they just decline rapidly as the weeks go on. And I got to see that one like when I was 15, and it was at this theater in Clear Lake, California, where it's like, hey, you paid $5, and because nowadays, like, obviously you need your parent to come with you, but this theater was cool enough where it's like, listen, as long as an adult buys your ticket, you can just go in, and that was how I was able to see a lot of the shit that I saw as a teenager for a very cheap price. Let's see here.
Can I ask you a question real quick, bro? And I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, what's up?
When you're critiquing these, when you're critiquing these movies, are you going strictly based like analytic, or is there a certain critique and check marks that you go through yourself?
That's actually a pretty decent question about this. Like, I don't know. Like, I think it's because like, I don't have any like presets, but it's like if I watch the trailer and I'm like, okay, this is interesting, like, I'll go. And now as I get older, a lot of it comes down to, because I follow the trades and I know what's getting shot right now and what's coming out, I think like, okay, what's the premise, who's directing it, who's writing it, who's starring in it, blah 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 blah. But like when I was a teenager, I just wanted to see as many movies as I possibly can. It didn't matter if it was good or bad, because when I was a kid, especially when I was younger, we only went like a handful of, like maybe like once a month, maybe twice if you got lucky. So like when it got to the point where I could just go as many times as I possibly could, I was just seeing everything. And especially like when I'm reading through this, looking through this binder and all the most random shit, a lot of this was between June 2017 to March 2020, where I worked at this theater in Folsom called the Palladio Lux Cinema, where where you can go and see the movies for free, and then you can also see shit for free at the Palladio 16, which is around the corner. So it's one of those things where it's like, even if it was good or bad, you still saw it for free.
Oh, there you go.
Like, I'm looking at some of these ones that I saw where like I have like the most random double features, and this was, I did a double feature one day of Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets, which, have you ever seen this? Okay, so it was Luc Besson's passion project. It was independent. It has some of the most visually stunning visual effects you could ever see in your life. It has amazing 3D, but some of the worst miscasting in the last 10 years when you cast Dane DeHaan as a sex symbol. Now, don't get me wrong. Dane DeHaan is he's a very handsome man. His wife is very pretty. I'm sure he's very happy, but just, he's playing this playboy type, and I feel like this is also in 2017 where, if you look at any of the heartthrobs back in the day, none of them were really making money as a star. And I'm trying to, because there wasn't really a lot, because you know, like when we were kids, like trying to think like who were the heartthrobs? Like we had, off the top of your head, can you think of some?
When I was a kid, I mean, thinking of like 90s movies, I know that and surprisingly, I think he's ugly, but fucking Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, sure.
Or like, you hear a lot about Denzel.
Sure.
Who else? Matthew McConaughey.
Sure. Right?
Those guys who were like big names at that time. Matt Damon.
Sure.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a very interesting time because I remember like back in the day, like especially like imagine what it was like in this. I don't know if it came out in the summer, but like when in '83 when Risky Business came out, that like made Tom Cruise like there's no longer a time where like imagine a time where a movie like Cocktail comes out, it is critically just eviscerated, but because it's Tom Cruise, it makes like $170 million worldwide. Like, that was at a time where a movie star can really carry a movie, and nowadays, like, that is slowly dying. Because I think about, like, One Battle After Another. Did you see that?
No.
Okay, so this was arguably one of the best movies of the year, in my opinion. It is very well received by critics and audiences. It is the biggest budget Paul Thomas Anderson has ever had, at like 130 to 175 million. There's not an exact review of how much it costs. But the movie comes out, it's got Leonardo DiCaprio, and again, like, from, like, 1995 to, I think, like, 2013, anytime DiCaprio was in a movie, it was successful. But I feel like nowadays it's really hard because you have so many outlets for film and television. Obviously, you have theatrical, but then you also have streaming, where a lot of it is at home. And the pandemic really caused this effect where it's like you can either see it in the theater now, or you can wait like at the time it was probably like 3 weeks, and then you could just rent it at home for $20. Whereas like think about it, rent it for $20, and you could have any people watching it with you, depending no matter how many. Versus like $14 a ticket, and with iTunes you can keep it for 48 hours. So it's like, hey, like, you want to see the theater, and you spend up like probably anywhere between like 80 to like $150 for the afternoon, or do you want to just get a group of people at home, pay the $20 to rent it, and then you all just sit and watch it together. And if you want to watch it again within the next 2 days, you can watch it again. Like it's that weird back and forth, and especially like if you're if it's a family of like 4, like it going to the movies is expensive now, and I know it's like it's cost effective than some other stuff, but like it's just shit keeps getting higher and higher and higher, and tickets, but then also concessions. Concessions is the number one thing that's going to get your wallet at the movie theater, because that's where movie theater chains make the money, because half the ticket profits they go back to the studio, so really that's why they have to charge so much of concessions. And I know this because my first job was working at a movie theater in Jackson, and when you worked at this theater, and obviously like any movie theater, like if a customer orders a small, right, the ultimate thing was you need to try to get them to upgrade to a large. But the problem is when you're working at a movie theater in Amador County, it's hard to get the regulars to upgrade their sizes, especially when a small Regal soda at the time, I don't know what it is now, but a small Regal soda was like 30 ounces. Like, it was humongous. It was so big. It was only like this, but it was this wide. The cup size was this width. And then a large was like basically half a gallon. Like, it's just insane. So, of course, these, older people who get the same shit every time are not going to get, are not going to upgrade to a large, and they're going to, and, they're not going to finish it. So it's like, what's the fucking point? And I had a boss who was just like, Danny, you have to get them to upsell. But it's like, I was like, dude, it's the same fucking people every week. They're not going to upsell no matter how hard you fucking try. And it's like, I get it. But also it's like, I know these people, they're not going to upsell. Like, there's no point in, like, trying to battle this.
Man.
Yeah, it's fucking...
Damn near get a Miller High Life for that. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking nuts. And then I've noticed, like, especially during COVID, because obviously movie theaters, all the movies, like, got pushed or they went straight to streaming. And the cool thing, though, that we got during that time from, like... Because when theaters started opening up again, I'd say in, like, if I'm doing my math right, in September 2020 is when they started opening up again. And I know this because, let me find the ticket here, they started doing re-releases. So let's see, here's the gap here. So my last 2 movies that I saw before lockdown, let's see, Monday, March 16th were The Hunt. Do you know what The Hunt is?
No.
Okay, so it's a Blumhouse movie where people are just being killed off left and right. And it was originally going to come out, I think, like a few months before. Got a lot of pushback. It was claiming politically to be one-sided, but when you watch it, you realize, like, oh, it goes either way. So that was March 16th, 2020. Then the next day, March 17th, the last movie I saw in theaters for 6 months to the day, because the next one was September 17th. The last one I saw was The Way Back, where Ben Affleck is an alcoholic basketball coach. It's one of his best performances in his career, and nobody saw it because, COVID, because duh. And then 6 months later, the next thing I see on the day is New Mutants. And I had seen it at the drive-in like a week or two before, but like the thing is when you go to a drive-in and the movie is darkly lit, you're not going to get you're not really going to see what's happening. So I purely went just so I could see it clearly, and in addition to that, just so I could just say, oh, I went to the movies again. And then, let's see here, a couple days later, when I saw Tenet in IMAX, I remember, like, Christopher Nolan was one of the first filmmakers to be like, no, like, I want my movie in theaters. I assure you, people are going to come, blah, 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 blah. And listen, like, it still made, like, $300 million worldwide, or just a little bit above that, but obviously, because of the budget, wasn't exactly a profit. And then, obviously, a couple months later, when the head of Warner Media, because at the time Warner Bros. Was owned by AT&T, and they had just launched HBO Max, they announced that their entire 2021 slate is going to be day and date, losing the studio hundreds of millions of dollars because not just in box office, but obviously also a lot of these actors in these movies had back-end deals, so that lost money there, and then it caused a lot of filmmakers to protest against the studio and go elsewhere, blah, 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 blah. Famously, Nolan isn't there anymore. He's at Universal. And I will say it, I still think that Universal is the best studio in Hollywood today, and if people ask why it is, why is that? I would say that Donna Langley, who's running it, she has the smartest head, because listen, she talks to her creators, shakes hands, and signs business deals, but then also like she will like go and talk to these people. And then in addition to that, Universal is probably the least amount of studio meddling from producers or whatever. Most of their movies have a wide range in budget scales. You have high ones, low ones, and medium ones. And if somebody asks, like, what is a medium-sized budget? What's the mid-budget range? Anywhere between 20 to 70. Because back in the day, we used to have budgets for films of all sizes because we had this thing called DVDs. And DVD sales can almost be a second opening weekend. And the movies that didn't make any money in the theater could have made it back on DVD, and the studio would be in the clear financially. And then when, I would say around 2009, when Paranormal Activity 1 came out, and famously that is the most profitable movie of all time because the movie's made for $15,000 and grosses $193 million worldwide, the studios realized, like, hey, we can probably like make a movie for very, very little and get a big profit. So it's like either you make a movie for $5 million or you get like 200. There's no middle ground. And then also, filmmaking in general, if you're a filmmaker, is hard now because there's no middle period. Like, the last time I saw a filmmaker get middle period was when Ryan Coogler makes Fruitvale Station for like $900,000, shot in 19 days, gets critically very well received, blah, 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 blah. And everybody's wondering, what's his next film? And then he announces he's doing Creed, which is obviously the next one in the Rocky franchise, and I will say on record, no offense to Mark Rylance, I'm sure you're a lovely human being, but Stallone should have gotten that Oscar win, and I will stand by that. But this movie's made for like 35, grosses like 150 to 160, and then he's announced to direct Black Panther, which is again is a $200 million tentpole. But if somebody asks, like, what's it like now? You nowadays, it's like, hey, you make a movie for like $300,000 to like $1 million, and then it's like, oh, if it's very well received, then the next thing you do, it's going to be a movie that costs like $150 million, got green screen and tennis balls, and you a lot of the time lose your creative art within that context because there is no gradual build-up to that. I mean, one of the best examples in like studio filmmaking that caused this director to not work in the industry anymore is Josh Trank. Initially starts off as an editor, and then he makes Chronicle, which was a small $12 million movie for 20th Century Fox. And again, it's very profitable, it makes a lot of money, and it's critically very well received. Then he's announced to direct Fantastic Four, or as the movie that came out is called, Fant4stic. Has this very troubled production. It has so many problems on set, whether it be from the actors, from Josh, whatever it is. And the movie comes out, and you're like, what the fuck is this? And like famously at the time, he was attached to direct a Boba Fett movie, and then that never happened. And then he just kind of just goes away for like 5 years, and then he makes this Al Capone movie with Tom Hardy, and then he hasn't made anything since. Because it's hard for him to get a movie made because of his experiences on Fantastic Four and also his reputation, because he did not exactly have the best behavior on that set either, from what I understand. And then if somebody asks what about indie directors? Because people forget also, like, now we have this model where everybody thinks that you make a movie for $1 million and it gets bought, but not every movie that's, like A24 used to be this darling of a studio, and then nowadays they're on this slump because if somebody asks why, I would say because they became too filmmaker friendly, and then their movies are starting not to make money back at the box office. And the best example of this is Ari Aster, because his first 2 films are made for a very tight budget. I think Hereditary was 9, Midsommar was like 14. They make their money back, and then he makes Beau is Afraid, which is I don't know how to describe it. I only know maybe one or two people that like this film, and it, at the time was the biggest budget in the history of A24 at $35 million, and doesn't even make $20 million worldwide, I don't think. And then he just had Anything come out over the summer, and I hear it's pretty good, but again, nobody saw it. And A24 right now is in this slump. But no, again, don't get me wrong, they've had some successes, but they've also had some slumps, and it's just because I would think that some other smaller studios are probably kicking their asses a little bit more, especially with Neon, because Neon, especially within horror, is doing really well. Because they're very smart about letting their directors make their movies. They don't give a ton of notes, but they all make sure they're on the same page. And that's the number one thing I think that's the problem with Hollywood is with filmmakers is nobody's on the same page. And a lot of that can be down to a lot of things. Some may just, when it comes to meetings, and then there's rewrites, whatever it is, blah, 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 blah. And that's the problem, though, with a lot of these smaller directors, because they think that they're going to get this, because they're told, hey, you make this movie for a small amount of money, gets picked up, gets seen, and then you get your next one made. But then again, it's like, what if your movie gets made, gets picked up, comes out, and then nobody sees it, and it's critically not well received? It's like, what do you do? Then it's like, what is it? Back to like making shit on YouTube? Like, who knows? And I say that because there's this film critic named Chris Stuckman. He's a great reviewer. I've been a subscriber to his channel for like 13 or 14 years. He just made his movie Shelby Oaks. It was crowdfunded, got picked up by Neon, blah, 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 blah. Comes out, doesn't make any money. It doesn't make a ton of money, and it's got very mixed reviews. But he had to expect going in, his movie was not going to be like 100% Rotten Tomatoes. It was not going to make like 100 million. And it just, the biggest accomplishment nowadays is that like, hey, you made a movie, it's done, and it's in the can. And I don't know, man. It's just, when I watch a movie now, it's like please be good. A lot of the time, the biggest thing too, legacy sequels. A lot of the time, legacy sequels can be great, okay, bad, or the worst case, it's like, why did you make this? Mm-hmm. Because there were some that I thought were really good. I'm one of the few people I feel like really enjoyed Happy Gilmore 2.
Okay.
Because I've seen a lot of people not be a fan of that one. And if somebody go, what'd you like about it? I'm like, well, it felt like Happy Gilmore, just, nearly 30 years later. And obviously because Adam's where he is now, he gets all the money in the world because he's at Netflix. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little tip back, a little fun fact. Okay, first Happy Gilmore movie I think is made for $10 million, maybe 12. Guess how much the second one was made for?
Way less?
A lot more.
Oh, $150?
$152.5 million.
Jeez.
Because have you seen it yet?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I see where all the money went, especially on these like crazy set pieces, but also because there's so many fucking cameos in that movie.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Hell, you've had, I think, what did they say? I think there was like 80-something cameos, right?
At least. And again, a lot of them are also golfers, so I don't know. Mm-hmm. But there's a handful of golfers I knew, but also like there were some where you don't realize they're golfers, but then again there's some that make sense. The girl in Dick's Sporting Goods apparently was a golfer, because also I realized like there's nobody who works at Dick's Sporting Goods that's also that beautiful.
Oh yeah.
that just doesn't make any sense. It's like, what are you doing here? And then Beverly Hills Cop 4, that was really solid.
Okay, yeah.
And then I had very mixed feelings on Coming to America 2, because I think that movie was also just so tame. Mm. Because obviously, like the first one, it wasn't like, even though it was rated R, I think the only reason that it got that R rating was because of language. But also the problem is that the character progression for Akeem in that movie just kind of, in the second one, kind of just went down. And you kind of just became Jamie Earl Jones' character, and then like just a lot of stuff where I'm like, why did you make this? But I get why, because they probably paid him a lot of money. And then Beetlejuice was a happy success. Freakier Friday, I was like, this is good. And then I'm trying to think. There had to be a legacy sequel recently that just like I didn't hate it, but I don't know. There's had to be some. But again, like if I can't remember, then that just shows how forgettable it is. Let's see here. You got any feedback from me, Flip, so far?
No, I think you're good. I think that I want to touch on that too. That Happy Gilmore 2, the second one. From what my boy was saying, he's like, it almost felt like that was like more of a cash grab kind of thing. You know what I mean? Almost cash grab kind of movie where it's like people just wanted the cameos just to say that they did it. You mean because for a lot of people, Happy Gilmore was nostalgic.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like it's a movie that we grew up on. So and I was born in '96.
Oh
so
yeah, '96 too.
Okay, yeah. So I grew up watching that movie. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so I feel like a lot of the people who made cameos are probably in the same age bracket as us, and they probably just wanted to be a part of it as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Now the ultimate question: who was the best cameo?
Fuck. God, dude, that's tough. Damn. No, I wasn't a wrestler. I can't even remember right now, to be honest with you, bro. Like
for me, it was Eminem.
Eminem was crazy.
Well, because
the fact that Eminem was in there.
Well, because I knew he was going to be in the movie, but I was like, I don't know who he was going to be. And then he pops up as Joe Flaherty's son. I was like, oh, this is fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Let's see here.
Oh, what's the son? He was oh god, he's a comedian as well. Lavelle Crawford, I think that's his name.
Oh yeah, Lavelle Crawford. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he was hilarious.
Yeah, Lavelle's been in a few Sandler movies. I'm trying to think all the ones he's been in. I know he was in Ridiculous 6. I know he's in. Oh yeah, he's also in Hubie Halloween.
Okay. Yep.
And then let's see. Oh, and then speaking of legacy sequels, they just shot another one. Did you know they made a Meet the Parents 4?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And again, I'm like, why?
That's the one oh no. I'm thinking of Meet the Fockers, right?
Yeah. So that's the second one. So you have Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers, Little Fockers. This one's Focker-in-Law.
Who the fuck's in this one?
Well, it's Everybody's Back, and then the in-law is Ariana Grande.
Oh wow. Okay.
And again, I mean, I'll go because I'm curious, but also, this is also an example of your filmmaker's last movie is gonna definitely set your expectations. And John Hamburg, who I love, I think he's one of our best comedy writers on the planet. He just writes jokes so well. Mm. His last movie was Me Time with Kevin Hart and Mark Wahlberg. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I hated it.
Really?
Dude, when a fart joke doesn't make me laugh, that's when you know your movie is sucking.
That's so fucking funny.
It's like, I'm the easiest laugh on the planet. And when Kevin Hart ripping ass doesn't make me laugh, that's when you know your movie's in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, another one. Guess how much that movie cost?
Well, okay, it's the same thing, kind of like, is it expensive?
Oh, yeah.
200?
Not that bad, but 85.
Oh, jeez.
And again, a lot of it is because with Netflix, when you make a movie for a streamer, because there's no box office return like it is with the major studios, you just get paid out. So obviously, basically with Mark Wahlberg and Kevin Hart, they're probably like, okay, you both get $20 million each, and that's $40 million of a budget there, and then they just put all the other shit.
Yeah. What about Zoolander 2?
Oh, Zoolander 2. That was the one I was trying to think of.
Was that it?
Because here's the thing. Zoolander is my all-time favorite comedy.
I fucking love that movie.
Zoolander is my all-time favorite comedy. And I had no idea that movie was getting made. I had no idea they made a sequel to Zoolander, and I don't know how I missed it. But I went to go see Man from U.N.C.L.E., I think, or Fantastic Four, one of the two. And then this trailer popped up, and it's Stephen Hawking's voice. And then all of a sudden, I hear "Relax" by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I'm like, is this what I think it is? And then it turns around, and it's Ben Stiller as Derek Zoolander. I'm just like, no fucking way. And I was just like so pumped for it, and I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
I mean that movie caused Ben Stiller to kind of like go away for a while. Mm. I mean, he's mainly been directing, and he hasn't acted on camera that much because, like, for those who are wondering, like, what has he directed? He directed Escape from Dannemora, the miniseries about the prison escape in upstate New York. I still need to watch it. I hear it's terrific, and also he's one of the main directors on Severance on Apple, which is another show that I hear is terrific, but I still need to watch it. And because Ben Stiller, I don't think gets appreciated for what a great director he actually is, because his first film, I think his first film was Reality Bites. Admittedly, I wasn't a big fan of Reality Bites. His next film was Cable Guy, which I think is one of the more underrated Jim Carrey movies.
Okay, yeah.
Because famously, this was the first movie that Jim Carrey was paid $20 million for, and this movie had a crazy development. Chris Farley was originally going to play the Cable Guy, which would have been such a different film. And I think it was because it was either do Cable Guy or do Black Sheep, and he chose to do Black Sheep. And I just think with Farley as that character that Jim Carrey played, it would have just been totally so different because Farley is just so sweet.
Mm.
And he would have had this great blend of sweetness with borderline sociopathic behavior. And it would have had this mold. And then Jim Carrey's performance, I think, is so great in that movie, but it's just so over the top. And at the time, like, it financially didn't do as well. And I'm sure, like, Ben Stiller and Apatow, everyone making the movie got their hearts broken because it wasn't well received and it financially didn't do as great. Because a lot of the time, when that movie came out, the biggest complaint was, like, this is the movie that caused Jim Carrey to get paid $20 million. Because, again, he was coming off of that banger of '94 with Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber. And then in '95, he has Ace Ventura 2, When Nature Calls, which I think is super funny. And that's one of the more better comedy sequels that doesn't get talked about. And then he comes out with this, and it's just like, everybody's like, what the fuck is this? And then I forget if Stiller directed a movie after that, between that and Zoolander. And again, Zoolander's my all-time favorite comedy.
Mm.
And then I think he doesn't, and then he also directed Tropic Thunder, which I know you could probably not make it today.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny though? Like, everybody thought that the backlash was going to be from Robert Downey Jr., and the backlash was completely about Simple Jack at the time.
Oh yeah, because of yeah.
Yeah.
But Tropic Thunder is fucking hilarious.
Dude, Tom Cruise in that movie is such a banger of a performance.
Yeah.
And I remember Cruise has talked about this a couple of times about that character because he's friendly with Ben Stiller and knew him over the years. They did that video together, the MTV Movie Awards parodying Mission Impossible 2. And I guess when they were pitching that character to Tom Cruise just thought, hey, I need fat hands and I want to dance. And then they did the makeup test and synced it up with Get Back by Ludacris, and they were like, okay, I get it, this is funny. And and then also he directed probably his most underrated movie as a director, which was his remake of Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Did you ever see Secret Life of Walter Mitty?
No, I haven't, but I heard about it though.
Oh, dude, that's definitely one you should put on your watch list. It is super good.
Okay.
Like, one of my future episodes is going to be on Ben Stiller, and I'm sure that's one of those that get talked about quite a bit. Oh, Flip, how are we doing on time? Like, what time are we at right now?
We're good, bro. We're 42 minutes in.
Oh, wow, 42 minutes. That just flew by. Holy crap.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun, and you do not have any water, so your throat is as dry. I'm good, bro. Oh, boy. Let's see here. I'm gonna rattle off some other random movies here, because like I said, during the pandemic, they got to get a bunch of re-releases put out during that time just to fill the movie theaters out. So shortly after Tenet, I went to go see the 40th anniversary re-release of The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
And for those who are like, yeah, Empire Strikes Back is the shit, because it is the greatest Star Wars movie of all time. And it's the one Star Wars movie where even if somebody doesn't like sci-fi, doesn't like Star Wars, whatever, you can show them Empire Strikes Back and they're like, that is genuinely a great film.
That's a hot take.
And next one after that was Beetlejuice.
Okay.
And Beetlejuice, I would say, is probably my favorite Tim Burton movie ever made. And I know that's a really hot... And then again, because I don't think that's a bad choice to have for your favorite Tim Burton film, because he comes out with Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and I forget if he does anything in between Beetlejuice and that. But then he does Beetlejuice, then he does Batman, then he does Edward Scissorhands, then he does Batman Returns, then he got Ed Wood, and so on and so on and so on. And Beetlejuice I love so much because, for those who are like, why do you love it so much? It embraces being weird. Like, if you feel weird, that's okay, and that's what makes you great.
Yep.
And that just movie, when I watched that as like an 8-year-old kid, I was just like, this movie gets me so much, because of my love for movies, I just felt such like an awkward, outcasted kid. And I was watching this movie, and it's got all this weird, macabre humor, and it's all this crazy imagery and all this crazy things. And I'm just like, God, this movie's made for me. And then, let's see here. This is at the time also because Cinemark was pumping out a lot of older movies. This is at the time where you had Beetlejuice, Nightmare Before Christmas, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and the first Scream.
Ooh.
I skipped Nightmare Before Christmas because admittedly I'm just not a big Nightmare Before Christmas fan. I acknowledge it is great, but it's just not one of my favorites, you know?
Mm.
But getting to see A Nightmare on Elm Street on the big screen was a blast.
There you go. Why that one?
because that was the first movie that like, I remember where I was, how old I was when I saw it. It was right after my classmate and I went to go see Night at McPhee. His mom drops me off, and then I go to my room and I turn on AMC, and it's the scene where Heather Langenkamp bumps into the girl in the hallway, and then the girl goes, "Where's your hall pass?" And Heather Langenkamp, "Screw your pass," and then I just got sucked in. And that movie freaked me out so much I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Like, because I was just paranoid I was going to end up like Johnny Depp and just get sucked into my bed and just have a pot of blood just spew out. And then Scream is not just my favorite horror film, it is one of my all-time favorite films. Because that movie is just riddled with just smart writing, self-aware humor. It's what needed to revitalize the slasher genre at the time. And I think my next episode is going to be about slasher movies, so that's my subgenre of horror I know the most. And for those who don't know, at the time, the slasher subgenre was in the very, very steep decline. It was on the danger of being straight to video. And it's just, and again, it was nobody's fault, but it was just like, we had, I think we had, if I'm doing my math right, we had 9 Friday the 13th already. We had 7 Nightmare on Elm Streets. And and we had a few Texas Chainsaw Massacres. And then they had some of the other, like, smaller ones, because the good thing about horror movies, slasher movies, and also the video market at the time, you could have all these smaller studios releasing video movies on VHS and just filling up the video stores, because that's a lot of the time, like when you were a kid, like what did you want to rent when you were younger, when you go to the video store? Horror movies. And because, you had so many video companies at the time, you can make a bunch of them and then pump them out, and some of them were shit. And that caused it to be on the back burner of theatrical releases. And then Kevin Williamson comes along, and out of desperation, he needed money. He locked himself in a cabin. I forget if he locked himself in a cabin in the woods or if it was a house out in the desert. He just locked himself in there for a few days and just cranked out this script, which at the time was called Scary Movie, which got turned into Scream. And then his career blew up after that. And what's funny is that I'm also watching Dawson's Creek right now, and I know I said that earlier, but god damn, that show's so fucking good. Like, I was around for the back half of the WB, so I wasn't around for like the whole thing, but god damn, I missed the WB. That was a wonderful time in the industry, because for those who are wondering what was so great about it, is from 1983 to 2005, we had so much pumping out by the studios and film and television stuff made for young people, because that's when they realized, oh, young people are the ones going to see stuff the most. So let's make stuff geared towards them. Comedy, horror, drama, whatever it is, make a bunch of stuff made for young adults. You don't have to spend a ton of money. And with a WB, where you have an entire network dedicated to young people television, obviously there are many actors who came to LA and failed, but you had at least a lot of opportunities to possibly get a job. Whereas now it is very shrunken. Because as somebody that wants to act and everything, I cannot imagine, especially like looking like me now, like I don't think I would get parts, because no offense, Paul Walter Hauser, but you take all the fat guy roles. Like, I'm sorry, Paul Walter Hauser, and I'm sure you're a nice man, but god damn it, every time they need a fat guy, they hire Paul Walter Hauser. Don't get me wrong, though. He's good. He was good in the Naked Gun. But, let's see here. We talk about some other ones. Let's see. The last movie I went and saw before the second lockdown was Freaky, which was a slasher movie with Vince Vaughn. Like, imagine the body swap comedy, but with a serial killer. It was very good. And then we had another dry spell, and then the next thing I went and saw in the theater was Godzilla vs. Kong, which was the right thing to bring everybody back. It's like, it's two titans beating the shit out of each other. And if we're talking legendary monsterverse, I think that is still might be the best one, just because it delivers on exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And let's see here. We're going into some other random ones. Like, actually, you know what, Flip? When you were a kid, do you remember any movies you remember going to see any specific movies that you were just mind blown by?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, and it really was like this more along the lines because I remember after the movie, I was staring at the cars hoping they would change. Transformers did it for me, bro.
Oh!
The first one with Shia LaBeouf?
Transformers is
yes.
So freaking
Oh my
good.
goodness, dude, yes.
I went to go see that on a Sunday afternoon at the Clear Lake Theater, and it's a 2-theater cinema. It was with me, my cousin, and a neighbor. And I'm like I was 10 years old, and that movie is just built for 10-year-old boys.
Yeah, yeah.
And for me, the scene that was just like, oh yeah, it's the scene like towards the end where Megan Fox puts Bumblebee on the back of the truck, and she's like, hey, I'll drive you, sure. Then you have I don't know what the name of the song is, but it's where the drum is just ba-da, 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 ba. And then you got Bumblebee just going pew 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 pew, and it's like seeing that as a 10-year-old, you're just like, yes.
Yeah, yeah. That was badass, dude.
Oh, and you know what? Another one in that summer was... Did you see the Simpsons movie in the theater?
I did.
Okay, so do you remember when all the 7-Elevens got turned into Quickie Marts?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I went to the 7-Eleven and got the donuts, and I never thought I'd see the day where, like, they showed us Bart's dick.
What?
Did you see the... Because you know the scene, like, where Homer and Bart are on a dare contest, and Homer dares Bart to skateboard naked?
Yeah, I remember that. Okay, I don't remember seeing his dick, though.
Oh, okay, so he's skating, and then you have all these, like, these things blocking it, then all of a sudden you just have, like, a 3-second shot of Bart's dick and balls.
That's crazy work.
And I remember, like, it was me, my buddy Donovan, and his little brother Alvin at the we all lost our shit, because and it was packed, too. We're all thinking, like, oh my god, Bart's a wiener. We never thought we'd ever see that.
Yeah.
Let's see. What are some other ones you like? Especially, like, do you remember like going to see ones as like little as like 5? Or movies that as a 5-year-old that made you just like?
I think. Oh, you know what? And this is gonna be kind of crazy. The first movie I personally ever went to that my parents brought me to was Dude, Where's My Car? Right.
You lucky bastard.
The first movie, but one thing that I do remember, I think I may have been like 8 years old, or maybe even a little bit younger or older. Fucking 8 Mile. Did you ever? Yeah.
Bastard.
Yeah.
2 back-to-back bangers. I am so jealous.
Bangers.
Okay. What is the movie you think you've seen in theaters the most?
Oh my goodness. God, that's good, dude. It's gonna be Transformers 2. Transformers 2.
How many times?
3.
Okay. Mine is from when I was 5 years old. 5 years old. Jimmy Neutron 6 times.
Oh my god.
6 times for Jimmy Neutron.
Okay, there you go.
Because listen, like when you're a little kid, that movie's just lightning in a bottle. The soundtrack is great, and then I can't explain why. I just wanted to see it again and again and again and again. Like here's how. Because when I was a kid, I was a diehard Nickelodeon kid.
Yep.
I turned down going to see Finding Nemo because I wanted to go see Rugrats Go Wild again.
Okay, there you go.
Because at the time, like, seeing Rugrats and the Wild Thornberrys in the same movie, you're just like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
This is the coolest shit on the planet. Because I remember, like, I've seen pretty much every Nickelodeon movie from, like, 2001 to 2009 in the theater. I mean, I've seen some here or there, but I remember, like, it was Jimmy Neutron, I think I saw Rugrats in Paris in the theater. I missed Clock Stoppers, which I think is the most underrated movie put out by Nickelodeon, because it's the only one that's not based on an IP or a television show or whatever. I missed the Hey Arnold one, but I remember going to see, obviously, Rugrats Go Wild, the Wild Thornberrys movie, going to see Yours, Mine, and Ours, going to see A Series of Unfortunate Events, going to see the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. And I know there's more, but I was just such a diehard Nickelodeon kid, and I was just like, anytime I saw like the orange and blue Splat logo, I was just like, I'm going.
Yeah.
And which is why, like, I'm hoping that SpongeBob movie coming out in a few weeks is good.
Yeah, I've seen that too. I think it's coming out like right before Christmas, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not the same audience as Avatar.
Yeah.
And obviously Avatar's going to make more money. But I think it's going to be fine. It's just, as long as it's not like the last one, which, because for those who are wondering, like, what was the third one? It's the one where it's stop motion. It's kind of like claymation now. Gary's on the run. Because I think it was made as a setup for, like, their spin-off series on Paramount Plus, which I don't think is on the streamer anymore, because Paramount removed a bunch of stuff from the streamer. But the reason why I don't like it, though, is just because it messes up all the mythology. Because obviously, like, because you know SpongeBob pretty well, right?
Yeah.
All right, you know in the first episode, that's when SpongeBob meets Sandy?
Yes.
Well, in this show, Camp Coral, all these people went to summer camp together, and that just doesn't make any logical sense at all.
Yeah.
Like Squidward...
There's no continuity.
Yeah, Squidward, allegedly, Squidward, SpongeBob... Patrick and even Mr. Krabs and Plankton were all at this summer camp together, which doesn't make any sense. And also because I don't know what the age gap is between SpongeBob and Squidward, but I feel like Squidward is minimum 10, 15 years older than SpongeBob is.
Yeah, it has to be.
And I'm just like watching this, and the only good thing about that movie is guess who plays Sage? And I mean, it's just a thing of Sage that rolls around in the wind.
Who?
Keanu Reeves.
Oh shit.
And Danny Trejo plays this character named El Diablo. And I will say, like, the first SpongeBob movie is also how I became aware of who David Hasselhoff was.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, we're at the age where, like, we didn't watch Baywatch as a kid, because that wasn't around by the time we were, like, of age to watch television. It was gone.
Yeah.
So I remember, like, going to see the SpongeBob movie, and when David Hasselhoff popped up, my mom was laughing her ass off, and I'm thinking, why does my mom think this is so funny? And then once I grew up and realized who David Hasselhoff was, it's like, I get it now.
Yeah, they had a lot of references to
yeah,
some of his old stuff. Yeah, especially Baywatch.
Oh, for sure. Oh, how much time we got left?
We're at 55. We're good to rock.
55? We're about to 55, huh? And you know what? I'm amazed at, like, how fast this goes. And I know it's a lot of rambling and everything, but I feel like that happens when it's just, like, by yourself. Because obviously, like, listen, like, obviously I'm glad you're here, but I'm thinking, like, unless you're, like, Bill Burr's podcast where you can just rant on a lot of random shit for, like, 3 hours on end, it's, like an hour by yourself, it's gonna be a lot of, like, random thoughts here or there. But hey, this is what you get the first episode done for. Like, this is what you do to set up a template.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so for those who are wondering, like, what my episodes are going to be, we're going to be talking about a different subgenre, and obviously, since you're going to be here, you're going to definitely be, like, put in on the feed, in discussion. So, like, one episode we're going to be discussing slasher movies. One episode we're going to be discussing Ben Stiller. One episode is going to be Adam Sandler. And I mean, like, I thought about doing a holiday movies episode, but it's like, honestly, like, we could probably name off, like, all our favorite holiday movies right now if you really wanted to. Like, I'll just say, like, can you name your top 5 Christmas movies of all time?
Oh, fuck. Speaking of Adam Sandler, I think it was like, is the one where it's animated.
8 Crazy Nights.
8 Crazy Nights, that's a beautiful one.
That's going to be back in theaters on Monday.
Is it?
Yes, and
okay.
I'm going.
Okay, fine.
Oh, I'm so pumped.
Other holiday ones. We just watched the Jim Carrey's Grinch the other night, but that was on Netflix.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It was on Netflix.
I don't know how many fucking times.
Damn, top 5. I mean, that's going to be kind of tough. Right off the top of my head. I have to, like, see them. I'm a visual person.
Here, I'll give you a pass. Home Alone and Home Alone 2 count as one because they're basically the same movie.
Okay, yep.
So if that's going to be on your list, that could just count as one.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, Home Alone, my stepdad loves that movie. We watch that movie at least once a year, especially during holiday season.
Yeah, I saw that in the theater, and the scene where Joe Pesci got shot in the nuts, my entire theater just lost their shit. Like, imagine what it's like being in 1990 and go to see that, because that movie famously was not supposed to do well, and it was number 1 at the box office from November till, I think, April.
Oh, damn. Okay.
And it was in the theaters till June.
Against all odds.
Yeah. So, if you ask mine, my all-timer is probably Home Alone. And Home Alone 2, I've probably seen more, but I just count them as one. I would say Elf. Elf is definitely on
Oh,
there.
my God. I don't know how I didn't think about that. Yeah. Will Ferrell Fire.
That's another one we've seen so many times. Die Hard definitely counts.
Hey, you know what? I love that debate.
Yeah, it counts.
Yeah, because there's a Christmas party.
And then, obviously, It's a Wonderful Life, because It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay,
duh.
yep.
And then I would say, 8 Crazy Nights is definitely up there. And then I would say another one. God, I would say I really love Bad Santa.
Oh my fucking God! Yeah, with Billy Pop Thornton.
Billy Bob Thornton. And obviously, everybody knows him on Landman now. But if you've never seen Bad Santa, go watch it.
That shit is so funny, dude.
And I would say an underrated one. Do you remember Just Friends with Amy Smart and Ryan Reynolds, where Ryan Reynolds is fat as a teenager, he's in love with Amy Smart? Then
Yes, I love that movie.
And a lot of people are saying he was such a dick the entire thing. And people are like, why was he such a dick in the second half? I'm like, well, it's because for anybody that had a crush on somebody, when you see them years later, you revert back to your old self.
Yeah, yep.
And I'm like, as somebody that had something fizzle out last week, I watched that scene at the end, and I was like so emotional where Ryan Reynolds is just like, and she's like, why are you back here? And he's like, because I want to take you on a date, and I want to tell you how beautiful I think you are inside and out, and blah, 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 all these things. And I was just like, I get this feeling so hard.
Yeah.
And it's just, goddamn.
Yeah. You like rom-coms?
Dude, we can do an entire rom-com episode. All right,
I love rom-coms.
Favorite rom-com of all time, can you name it?
Oh, fuck. Damn it, that was a really good one. I mean, I love 50 First Dates. God, there's one too that it had like his name is Ryan Gosling, Steve Carell.
Oh, Crazy Stupid Love.
Yes, that was a great one. I thought that was Friends with Benefits is good.
My favorite is She's Out of My League because because here's the reason why. It's very realistic in terms of because no matter who we're with, we always think that they're out of our league.
Oh, for sure.
Because obviously I feel like with your lady you're like, oh, I 1000% like dating with somebody that's like well above like my. And again, that's something against you, but just like we always feel as though we're always dating somebody that's like above us.
Absolutely.
And it's not our fault. It's just the way it is.
Yep.
And also, I will say that I love the scene where he like she's just like, hey, like why did you leave? Why would you not do all these things? And he's just like, just be honest. And he's just like, I ejaculated in my pants. And just like I did all that, and all of a sudden I had this fucking oyster, blah 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 blah. And I was just like, I get this. Oh man, and we're about to hit the hour mark, right?
Yeah, yep, just hit it.
All right, about to hit it, and I'll just say this is a good introductory episode of Danny Loves Movies. I know I could have done. Gone through a bunch more of these, but this was just me just getting used to being on camera, doing this, because I haven't done this in a long time. And I promise you the second episode, which we'll do next week, I believe, we'll definitely have more of a flow to it, because I'll have guests, we'll talk back and forth, I'll interview them for a little bit, and then we'll have our main discussion. And until then, this has been Danny Loves Movies. I'm Danny Till. I got Flip over there in the side, and thank you for watching this, and hope you have some feedback, and if so, comment below. And for those who are saying you rambled along and you had no structure, no shit. That's the way my brain works, and that's okay. That's why we had the first episode, to get this shit sorted out. So until then, you guys have a good night, enjoy yourselves, and bye-bye.